So listen, 3 days after Democratic candidates cleaned up at the polls, Republicans are trying to figure out what happened, with everyone from Marjorie Taylor Greene to Ted Cruz pointing fingers. Watch.
What happened last night was blue states and blue cities voted blue. We all saw that coming. And no one should read too much into last night's election results. Off-year elections are not indicative of what's to come.
The election yesterday was a referendum on not delivering what November 2024 was about. It was about America first, it was about MAHA, and it was about cost of living and putting Americans' issues above everything else. And that has not been the focus for months now.
The Republican Party is not strong. Donald Trump is strong. Republicans don't know how to win. They don't know who to run. They don't know what to do when daddy's not there to fly them across the finish line.
The left showed up in big numbers last night, and common sense conservatives did not. If that happens a year from now, we face disaster in the midterms.
Who's your daddy? So is Mike Johnson right when he says it was just a blue state issue, or do Republicans really have something to worry about? I ask you, Miss Alyssa.
Virginia is a consummate purple state, and what stood out to me, I predicted the day before that the races would go how they would, that Democrats would sweep. But what stood out to me is New Jersey and Virginia, the margins. Both of the Democrats won by about a 10-point advantage. That is significant and not something that anyone can dismiss. But it's the old adage, it's the economy, stupid. No one feels like their life is getting better, like their dollar's going further, like they can afford basic goods and things. And Trump is, I would say, falling into a trap that Biden did when he was in the White House. Biden talked a lot about the economy is doing better, but did not speak enough to the fact that people felt like they were hurting. They felt like they didn't have the money that they should have. That's happening right now. We are a year into Trump, and he does own this. He doesn't get to blame it on somebody else. So people turned out in droves. The easy part is to campaign on affordability. The hard part is to actually bring down costs. And by the way, I think Mamdani is going to run into this. I think that he ran a really smart campaign, but I think a year from now, New Yorkers are going to be like, oh, wow, my dollar's not going any further than it did before because there is a lack of ideas and solutions. So I'd say this, the biggest gift Donald Trump could get ahead of the midterms is if the Supreme Court rules against his tariffs, which are right now just driving up costs for consumers. And we should get that news fairly soon if they do decide to.
And I think they will. I was listening to the oral arguments yesterday, and there's no question that Justice Sotomayor, even Chief Justice Roberts, was like, these tariffs are a tax on the American people and nothing more. They kept on asking.
Why did it take them so long?
I mean, even some of the most conservative justices like Kavanaugh, they were asking, you know, who pays for the tariffs? Who pays for the tariffs? And quite frankly, the administration's representative didn't have answers for that. And so I suspect that the tariffs won't hold. But I also think that it's really ridiculous for Mike Johnson to sort of be like, well, nothing to see here. Nothing to see here.
Yeah.
Because you have Donald Trump for the first time, I think it's the second time since his term began, using the term affordability. Can you imagine? He's actually using the term affordability, and his disapproval rating is at an all-time high. It stands at about 37%. But on Wednesday, he posted on Truth Social that affordability is our goal. Really, Donald?
His disapproval is much higher than 37%.
You're right. His approval rating is at 37%. His disapproval rating is at 63%.
Yeah, and I mean, everybody's talking about, you know, the need to talk about affordability. And let's remember that in the days and weeks leading up to this election, Donald Trump was out there touting his $300 million ballroom that he knocked down the East Wing for. I also focused on Latino voters and Black voters. Donald Trump made inroads with them. Republicans made inroads with them in 2024. He got historically high numbers with Latinos. Those Latinos, a lot of them now, not all of them. I know some of my neighbors still think he walks on water, but a lot of Latinos are having buyer's remorse, particularly after seeing their tias and abuelas and friends getting dragged through the streets by masked men and scooped up into unmarked cars.
And they're losing their jobs.
And so, you know, on immigration, you know, he's also, listen, he's on 60% disapproval in practically everything. Tariffs, managing the federal government, the economy, a situation involving Russia and Ukraine, immigration. He's, you know, people are fed up with Trump's abuses of power, and they are frustrated that Republicans in Congress and in state legislators and governorships are rubber stamped, and nobody is providing oversight or pushback to Donald Trump.
Well, it's
That's why I
starting,
think
though.
people came out to vote,
it's
because they
starting.
want pushback.
Well, when you asked the original question about is Mike Johnson right, if these Democrats just eked by or won by a few, the performance level of these Democrats was not just a win, it was a mandate.
Yeah.
And it was a referendum on Donald Trump and what people are not liking. But I would also say something else. As an independent, we can all agree the partisanship of present day is destroying us. It's the which jersey are you in and what do you vote for? Because there was a time where voting in a Supreme Court justice recently was bipartisan, easily. It almost didn't matter the candidate. Everyone voted. Now it is you are in one jersey, you will hardline vote that. We saw some candidates, and I keep talking about them, but in Virginia and New Jersey, Abby Spanberger and Mikey Sherrill, both of these people are showing that they will vote against their own. They're forced to wear a jersey, but they're centrists and they're common sense and they're pragmatic.
Yeah.
So yes, it's affordability, 100%, but it's also people that show you they're independent, critical thinkers and will take it issue by issue, not party by party.
Lindsey Graham, all their words are coming back to bite them, because Lindsey Graham famously said in 2016, if we nominate Trump, we will get destroyed and we will deserve it. My mother used to say, don't spit up in the air, it comes back in your face. It's all coming back in their face.